Welcome to Prostyle Podcast, where you never know who's gonna be on the show. Could be your favorite rapper, could be your favorite athlete, who knows? But on today's show, I got, when you think about how decorative this guy is, he was Gatorade Player of the Year. He was two-time Mr. Illinois basketball, the number 2 overall pick in the NBA draft to the Milwaukee Bucks. Current Bulls forward, please welcome my man Jabari Parker. How you doing, bro?
Hey, pretty good. Pleasure to be on the show.
Hey, man, I appreciate you being on the show. And I actually met you, I think you were in high school. You were up in the Vernon Hills area at a hotel visiting your cousin, Harvey Unger. And I walked in, I was like, man, I know, dude, that's the phenom. That's the basketball guy, Jabari Parker, man. And it was just like super cool because like you were humble, you were like real quiet and shy. And I was just like, man, this dude's going to be special because you can already tell like you had that humility early on, you know. Just talk about like your upbringing, you know, being from Chicago, playing at Simeon, and, you know, what the city means to you.
Well, it's funny that you mentioned that story because it's crazy how small this world is. I was a kid inspired by the professionals that I was around to get to where I'm at. And it's just amazing journey so far.
So, man, the city, man, right? You know, me playing with Chicago and, you know, understanding like what sports mean to the culture. Talk about you winning, you know, multiple high school championship. What's that feeling like? Because I've never won a championship. I've never played in a championship game out of all my years in sports. How does that feel?
It's a good feeling just to say that Chicago is very, very big on basketball culture.
Yeah.
And to be able to do that where I was on the South Side and to do that, you know, with a group of guys that I've been knowing since grade school was like the biggest dream for me. And I was just so grateful that it took place at Simeon and it took place with the group of guys that I was with. So, you know, we were able to collect a lot of historical accolades and, you know, we went down in the hall.
Yeah. Nah, man, just watching y'all play, man, it was cool just to see the bond that you guys had, the camaraderie. But here's my question. How did you end up at Duke, man? Like when you have all these schools that are recruiting you and you choose to go and play with Coach K, what factored into that decision?
Well, what led that to my decision to go to Duke was my parents. My parents wanted to be around professionalism, for me to be around the best person that prepared me for life, and that was Coach Krzyzewski. And at the time, a lot of guys were going to Kentucky, going to Kansas, and you know Duke wasn't very sexy to a lot of people. You know, not a lot of traditional one and dones, but more importantly, like my dad emphasized, like if I don't do well, I can always have my education to fall back on.
Very true.
And that's why I went to Duke.
Nah, man, that's big because when I was coming out of high school, there was 2 schools. There was Vanderbilt and there was Notre Dame. Those were like my top 2 schools because education meant so much to me. Even now, like as I continue to pursue multiple degrees, education is like, you know, is what I ultimately look forward to teaching my sons, like the importance of, because sports, you know, you never know when it's going to end, right? Like knee injury, back injury, spine, whatever, you just never know. Talk a little bit about facing adversity and being able to overcome it with your ACL tear.
Yeah, and it's pretty natural. Like you can relate, like surgery and injuries is a part of sports. It's part of your profession. It's just a matter of how you bounce back. And, you know, putting yourself in the right situation with good people is number one, and trying to keep your faith in yourself and a higher power is important too. Yeah,
no, that's super dope. That's super cool because, I mean, like you said, keep yourself around good people, man. I think a lot of time in sports, a lot of guys don't align themselves with good people and people that have their best interests at heart. And a lot of times they get in trouble, right? Like you see them on ESPN, so-and-so had DUI, so-and-so did X, Y, and Z. And so just to see you put yourself around people that have your best interests at heart, that means a lot, man. That means a lot. And me personally, man, watching you in Milwaukee, like your career just began to take off. It was like super cool. And then, you know, you go to the Bulls. Talk about that transition, because you're still close to home. Whether you're in Milwaukee, you know, now you back in the city. I mean, you've always been in that Midwest area.
Right. And it's been a blessing so far, just being so close to good people through the adversity. And even as I continue to, you know, go to the struggles now with, you know, being on the team, we haven't won as many games.
Right.
And, you know, I haven't had the role that I've, you know, thought that I was going to have, but you know, it's just important that, you know, being home and being around the ones that I grew up with keeps me level-headed. Yeah,
for sure. So let's talk about that a little bit too, man, because I'm frustrated. I'm not going to sit up here and lie. I'm frustrated. I want to see Jabari Parker play 30 minutes a game for the Bulls, man. And there's a lot of trade talk out right now. You know, guys saying you may go to Minnesota. You may be traded here and there. What's going on in your head?
What's going on in my head is positivity, taking it day by day. And that's just the nature of the game, nature of the profession. Just got to be ready when your number's called. Yeah. And wherever you go, just try to make the best of your situation. But, you know, right now it's just whatever I get, man. If it's 5 minutes, if it's 10 minutes, you know, just try to do well and best I can to the most that I get.
Yeah, no, for sure, man. I mean, these past couple games you've been playing, you've been doing well. So it's good to see you out on the court, man. Who we need to talk to get you more minutes? That's what I want to know. Who do I need to pick up the phone and call and say, hey, man, my man needs more minutes. Like, he's producing. Come on, let him go now. Let's get this thing rolling.
Right. Shoot. not even Michael Jordan could give me the blessing, you know. But you know, just gotta stay on top of things, man. Yeah. Wish I could have more minutes, but hey. This is how it is, and you just can't complain at this point.
Yeah. Well, I need to go talk to some. I live in Houston. I need to go talk to the Rockets and say, hey, man, if you guys need somebody that's going to help elevate this team a little bit more, let's go get Jabari, man. You know what I mean? Like, right. I'm going to call your agent, and we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. But Prostyle Podcast looks at the symmetry between hip-hop and sports, right? So what hip-hop artists have you met that you're just like, man, like this was super cool, this was super dope to actually meet this individual? Because when I was in Chicago, I had the pleasure to meet Common, and so I was like, man, like, this is Common. You know what I mean? Like, when you think of Chicago and rap and hip-hop, like, you think of Common is one of the names that comes to mind. Who's the artist that you met that you were just like taken back by?
Well, obviously it's the Commons, it's the Chance the Rappers that I've been fortunate enough to meet. That's been very, like, level-headed, been very grounded. But somebody that I'm very close to and I could call a personal friend is Rhapsody. She's
nice.
You know, rapper out of North Carolina. Mm-hmm. She's with you know, Rock Nation. Yeah, and
that's dope, man.
Just been knowing her for the longest, and her substance is just up there.
Yeah. So what's the symmetry that you see between hip hop and sports? Because for me, you know, I look at, you know, competition. I look at the culture a little bit. I look at, I don't know, rivalry. You know what I mean? Like, things that really push guys and guys that want to be number one. Everybody want that top spot, you know? So what similarities do you see?
Well, it's a lot of similarities with the music and the movement of the game. It's very poetic. I think basketball reminds me of like jazz. Yeah. Just because of the flow, and the rhythm. You know, the game is also about rhythm too. Sort of like how music is. Yeah. And just one thing I just think that it resonates is with moves culture. You know, basketball moves culture, football moves culture. Sort of music does too. And that's the number one need. And the asset that we have in America is not like natural goods. It's our entertainment. Yeah. And, you know, being black, being on TV a lot, we do have a big responsibility. Right.
Nah, that's big, man. Hey, man, that's dope, man. I appreciate it. Like I said, man, we got to pick up the phone, man. I gotta get somebody on this ASAP, man. It's been a pleasure. How can the people follow you on social media?
You can follow me through my first and last name, you know, at Jabari Parker. Both of my accounts, my Twitter and Instagram. But I'm more like a, you know, history feed. Like, I'm not like daily, but I got some old stuff in there.
Man, that's cool, man. Well, I appreciate you being on Prostyle Podcast with me, man. Blessings to you. I look forward to seeing you on the court a lot more, especially going into the second half of the season. Man, we got to link up whenever I'm back in Chi, man. And, best to you, brother.
Okay, let's do it down.
Yes,
bear down.
Yes, sir. Bear down, baby.
Yes, sir.